Good
Hold
morning,
on.
sports and
Did you get
what?
the notification?
Yes, I did.
Okay, my bad.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this issue of Batters Up on the Sports Insanity Network. I am Mark, right on time, Halpern, with the announcement. And no, I'm Mark Oldopsky Halpern. Along with me is my PIC, Mike, the Pub Master Rifkin. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
This was a little hop and skip. We've gotten through our hiccup for the show, and we're ready to rock and roll. The whole thing is, now that I just said that, we're now in the Apollo 13 part of our episode. As I just said, we had our glitch. So here we go. Today we got a great episode for you on Batters Up. We're talking the end of the year playoff races and award winnings. We got news coming out for the week on specific matchups for the week that have playoff implications. And who better off getting us ready and before the starting gun? Mike, it's your show.
All right. Thank you very much, Mark. I do want to start this with a shout out. If nobody else is a college football fan, yesterday was the final college game day appearance of Lee Corso. So, shout out the legend that is Lee Corso, who is retiring after many years doing college game day. So, but Mark is right. We are here to talk about Major League Baseball. It is August 31st. It is the last day of August, which means three things. One, to all the kids out there, school is coming. Two, football season is next week. Well, technically, this week is Thursday.
Yes.
And three, Major League Baseball is entering the final month of the season. And we've got, honestly, a lot to cover because there's really been only one thing that has been decided, Mark, and that would be the Detroit Tigers in the American League Central, despite playing not well recently. The Tigers are still up as I pull up the standings here. They're still up 8.5 games on the Kansas City Royals and 9.5 up on the Guardians. But outside of that, we've got races galore. Let's just knock this out. American League East, the Blue Jays are up 2 games on the Yankees. They are 3.5 up on the Boston Red Sox. The Houston Astros are 3 up on the Seattle Mariners and 5.5 up on the Rangers. And in the battle of cellar dwellers in the ALS, the A's are only a game behind the Angels. Come on, A's, let's do it.
I mean, that's your story, right? I mean, yes, we're coming into the playoff races, and the top players are going to try pushing themselves to get that MVP, extra votes. But that's the story, and I'm glad Mike brought it up because I was going to bring it up because we didn't even have it on our rundown. Is that the Athletics are doing the right things to get noticed? But what happens, Mike? Because I'm glad we got this. What happens? Let's say the last game of the season. The Los Angeles Angels, Anaheim, as you like to refer to them as, fall, whether it's a half game or one full game. Well, it has to be a full game. One full game behind the Athletics. What happens in the Angels organization?
Um, that's a really good question. It's a really good question. I would think it would be you'd have to look at a lot of different things if you're the Angels. if you were to finish behind the A's. And I think the biggest question you would have to ask yourself, and it's the same question we've asked of the Angels for the last number of years, is this the winter where they actually could consider moving Mike Trout?
And that's where I was going with
Yeah.
this. I know we have a lot of other stuff to talk about, but this actually is now becoming a forefront. And instead of doing an article on it, might as well talk about it quickly. That's where I was going with it. Is it the time where Mike Trout says, "Look, give me a break here. We just finished the worst." He has, from what I have written down, a little better than 4 years left on his contract. Nowadays, Mike Trout's contract of 496 million is not a scary number, especially when you have two others like Otani and Soto who got over 700 million. Now, this is not a case where Mike Trout's going to see the same number he got because of his injury play and whatnot. So, what teams could actually make an offer for him, Mike? I know the Mets would love to, but we know the costs would be astronomical. But what other teams could actually make a call?
Okay, well, I hate throwing them out there as a rival, but he's from Jersey, so I'm going to throw the Phillies in there. I'm going to throw a couple of dark horses out there. I'm going to throw the Cubs out there. And the one team that I don't know if they'd ever do it, but I just think it'd be ironic given something else that went down. What if he reversed places and he went to the Cardinals? Remember, Albert Pujols went from the Cardinals to the Angels, so you reverse that. Although the Cardinals look like they're going to go in the rebuild mode. But, I mean, I'll throw the Cubs out there. I think the Reds would be a ton of fun. If
I
you,
didn't even consider the Reds.
well, I don't think they'll
So
ever.
that's now just thinking about it, the team lineup and everything. How did I not consider them? Okay, so no, I'm
I don't think it happens because the Reds kind of they don't spend a lot of money. They're one of those. But I think if you put him in that lineup with guys like Ellie De La Cruz and Steer and those guys, it could be a lot of fun. So, um,
the I had considered the Cubs absolutely. I
especially if they lose
unfortunately,
Kyle Tucker.
yeah, I unfortunately because like you said, he is from Jersey. I did have the Phillies down, but I also had him staying on the West Coast.
Okay.
Now, not as a fielder. Now he becomes a DH. Seattle.
Yeah, I don't know if the Angels are dealing within the division, but
I know. I'm just saying, I for my fun issue, him and Raleigh and Rodriguez. What a
uh,
3-4-5.
and don't forget Randy Arozarena, who's had a
Yeah.
very nice second half too.
So I mean, Seattle could be. I mean, that's my what like Mike said, fun when he did Cincinnati. But that's my dark horse using Mike's lingo as well for him as well.
Yeah, because well, you'd also have to assume, never assume, because you know what
Right.
happens. If the Angels are going to trade him, and listen, he's been loyal a little bit to a fault.
Oh yeah.
But if the Angels are actually going to trade him, I would presume they don't want to eat any of the money. So whatever team is going to acquire him is acquiring whatever is left on that contract.
Right. And you
So,
have to look at teams Dodgers and Mets are going to be out because of the amount of money they've already spent.
well, the Dodgers are out just because one, where is he going to play if he goes to the Dodgers?
He would probably have to be DH at that point.
And you've already got Otani.
So the
Unless you're
Dodgers
going
are
to
out.
teach Otani a position. And by the way,
No, he's
I think there'd be a revolution if Shohei or if Mike Trout went to the Dodgers.
Mike makes a good point is where would he play? I mean, you would have to ultimately think the outfield, and it would
It'd
require
have to be one of the
moving.
corners.
Yes, it's not going to be center. It would have to be. I think you're going to end up in right field, and that's your spot.
And they also have Teoscar Hernandez, so he'd have to swap from right to left,
Or you trade
or he's involved in the deal. But
in the deal going
I
over to cover
I
them for the
can't
outfield.
see.
This is a far-fetched,
Yeah,
thought.
everyone, this is imaginary. So
Right. It's just something that bars notice as it not meaning to the Dodgers, but the fact that Mike Trout is a very big possibility to waive his no trade clause to leave the Angels at the end of this season.
and just where we started this conversation, I do want to give the A's a lot of credit because
Yeah.
the situation they are in is not easy. They're in Sacramento. They're playing at a minor league facility, and they're playing their asses off. And they are playing hard. And if the owner was willing to spend some money this off season, this upcoming off
Just
season,
a little bit.
they are close. They're not as
They
far
have a
away as people want to make them out to be. You get them a
they need
couple of
them.
studs in the rotation,
Yeah, that's where they need a big time name in the rotation.
and maybe even a closer now after they traded away Mason Miller for God knows whatever.
Right.
But they're not far away.
Yeah. But
So
back to our where we were, that was a nice little tangent because we stayed on baseball. Back to our regularly scheduled show.
yeah, I want to start with the AL East here because it's interesting because the Yankees I want to say the Yankees are back. They've beaten up on the Nationals and the White Sox, so I ain't giving them any credit for that. No offense to Yankee fans who are going to take offense to that.
Yeah.
The Nationals and White Sox are not world beaters.
No, but the Yankee fans are saying a win is a win.
Right. But look at this stretch for the Yankees to open up September. They're off tomorrow,
Right.
which, by the way, how the hell you give a team off on Labor Day is beyond me. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the New York Yankees are in Houston to play the Astros.
Big series.
Next weekend, the Yankees will host the Blue Jays. After that, the Tigers go to the Yankees.
God.
And then the 12th through the 14th, the Yankees go to Fenway to play the Red Sox.
But whoever put this together for the
Is a
final ending
freaking
run.
genius.
I mean, the Yankees have probably one of the toughest roads to close a season that I've seen in a long time. I mean, you got Toronto, who is crucial right now because they're 2 games up. You're sending them against the Tigers, who are arguably a prime time player to go to the series this year, as of right now. You're going to go to Houston, where the Yankees are not liked at all, and it's going to make it very hard for them to concentrate with the noise down there. And then you're sending them all the way to Fenway. Not that it's not needed to play, but they can't afford to lose more than one of these games at all if they want to stay in hopes of the playoffs.
By the way, they're 3-7 against the Blue Jays, 1-2 against the Astros, 1-2 against the Tigers, and 2-8 against the Red Sox.
That's not comforting if you're a Yankee fan.
That is not comforting at all. But it's the position they're in. They're 2.5 back now. They
Mhm.
can get to within a game and a half if they beat the White Sox and the Blue Jays lose again to the Brewers. By the way, how great the Brewers been.
And that they're playing still at that high peak. They have not let up yet, and just hats off to them.
Yeah. Yeah. So the AL East, you got three teams within 3.5. The Central, the Tigers are still up 8.5.
Yeah.
And the West, do the Astros and Mariners play this month or upcoming month? The Astros and Mariners play. Okay, the Astros and Mariners will play the 19th through the 21st,
Okay.
and that is the only time they will see each other this month.
So for Seattle, as of right now, they're three behind Houston. They have to keep the status quo and stay behind no more than three to have a shot. They have to play. They have to play stellar baseball. And as of lately, that lineup is hitting and is hitting well.
Yeah, the lineup's doing its job. The rotation, for the most part, has done its job. And the Mar, I'll say this about the Mariners: after that Astro series, they get the Rockies, and they end the year with the Dodgers going to Seattle.
And that could be, we all have heard the famous phrase, oh, we're in, let's give our players a rest. However, if they have that first week bye, they're not going to want to rest their players an extra day and give them too long of a rest and get out of their grooves. So it's going to come down to how far LA is ahead and in when it comes to that series of who the Seattle Mariners are actually going to face and see.
And the Dodgers right now are 7.5 back of the Brewers for the best record in the National League. The Phillies
Oh,
are five and
Milwaukee.
a half, and the Cubs are 6.5.
Yep.
So now, if we flip it to the National League divisions rather, the Phillies lead the Mets by 6 games in the NL East. The Mets
And the
just
Mets,
swept the Phillies at Citi Field. They'll play once more in Philadelphia starting 1 week from tomorrow for 4 games.
and those four games are going to be huge. The Mets must not can't. They must take three or four.
Well,
I would
first you
love
got
a
to see where they
complete
are at
sweep.
that point, but yes.
Yeah, I would love a complete sweep. But if we're talking today, they would have to win three or four.
Now, it should be noted the Mets have already won the season series from the Phillies
Correct.
with their sweep last weekend. So, see what happens there. The Phillies in September, they'll play in Milwaukee starting tomorrow, and they still have a trip to Dodger Stadium on their hands.
And with the loss of Zach Wheeler, it makes it all the more harder.
Yeah, Zach Wheeler. And honestly, we hope he gets the. I don't know if he's undergone the surgery yet, but
He has undergone the
okay.
surgery,
I know he
but
underwent for the blood clot. I didn't know if they had to wait for the thoracic outlet.
and the there's a couple different consensuses on what's going to happen. He can try and come back and whatnot, but he's not going to be the same person he was. So the question becomes, what happens to Zach Wheeler? And I can only think of one thing, and he goes the same way Kerry Wood went, becomes a closer,
Mm.
or his career's over. This is not a easy. This is not an easy injury to come back from, especially if you're a pitcher.
And he
Yeah, I mean,
and he's already discussed earlier in the year. He said he was retiring at the end of his contract, which I believe
right.
had
And this could do it for him.
another year. So this could just be it. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens there.
Hmm.
In the Central, the Brewers are up 6.5 on the Cubs. And then in the NL West, the Dodgers are up 1 game on the San Diego Padres.
And we said this was going to be the chase to watch.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego with the lineup, the Los Angeles Dodgers with the balance. You know, it's gonna come down to if they have a matchup left, and I think they do, and I know Mike's probably just looking that up now as he does his due diligence. But who else they are facing is going to be the question.
Okay, the Padres and Dodgers, I believe, are done. But let's see.
Okay.
In September, the Padres and Dodgers do not play each other. The
Okay. So,
Padres have series at Citi Field. They got a series in Denver. Actually, they get two series with the Rockies.
not fair.
They get a series with the White Sox. They get the Brewers at home. They end with the Diamondbacks. And there's also the Orioles and Padres in there. For the Dodgers, and go back. The Dodgers will be playing. Well, first things first for the Dodgers, they're going to try to avoid a sweep from the Diamondbacks today.
Right. The Dodgers have just not been playing good baseball.
The Dodgers in September play. They do have a series with the Phillies. Okay, so the Dodgers will go from Pittsburgh to Baltimore. They host the Rockies.
Not fair.
They
And
get
we
a
saw what they did to the Rockies last time.
they get 3 games in San Francisco. 3 games at home against the Phillies. They get San Francisco again, the Diamondbacks, and then they end with the Mariners.
That's a harder
That
ending
is
than I
not
thought they
easy.
had. You know, so as it stands out, we see the division leaders, and we know in the wild card right now, the
But
Chicago Cubs are at the top, Padres are right behind them, and the Mets right behind them. After that, the Mets now, thank God, have a 5 game cushion.
so yeah, here you go for the wild card stuff.
Hmm.
The AL, the Yankees, Red Sox, and Mariners are the top three. The Royals are two back. The Rangers are 2.5. Cleveland three. The Rays are still 3 games under 500, but they're 5.5. National League, Cubs, Padres, Mets. You said it. The Reds are 5 back. The Diamondbacks and Cardinals are 5.5. And the Giants are 6. So those are your standings right now. And those are things to watch in September. So it's going to be a fun race because nothing outside of the American League Central is clinched. Um,
Correct.
but some of the other things I'm looking forward to here down the stretch. But let's be honest here. None of the awards are cinched either.
No,
Like,
I mean, a lot of them are up for grabs.
like AL MVP, we could still have the Judge versus Cal Raleigh debate. I got to tell you though, with Cal Raleigh getting to 50,
Yeah.
to me that should be a slam dunk.
Raleigh should be the MVP.
Yeah.
I
And by
mean,
the way, that's not a knock on Aaron Judge.
exactly. I was just about to say that, that's not a cut at Judges. He's had another
Phenomenal
great
year.
season. Yeah, another great season.
But Cal Raleigh plays a position that is so freaking demanding.
And how he does it every friggin' game.
Yeah.
I was a catcher for 22 years. I never caught more than 4 games straight. In, younger wise. When you get older, it gets a lot more different.
And also, he's got to remember the game plan for each pitcher. And then he's got to remember his game plan when he's up at the plate.
It's a lot.
Yeah. 50 homers, 107 RBIs, a 933 OPS.
And there's
Again,
still a month to go.
and they're still, if he hits 10 in September, if he hits 10 in September, he's getting to 60.
Can he hit 21?
Like, he's a freaking catcher.
Can he go to 71? The true
Oh,
71.
I
No.
mean, that's ALM.
Congratulations to Raleigh.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was such a fun little thing. But no, congratulations to Cal Raleigh on not only having the best nickname in baseball, but probably one of the best seasons of a catcher that I've watched in a long time.
One of the best seasons, period. Like, we could sit here and talk about, well, Bonds hit 73 one year. Well, that's kind of tainted because we know what happened.
Right.
Even as spectacular as it was,
Mm.
and it was spectacular. Also, I think being older now, I was 8 years old when Bonds hit 73. So I kind of appreciate this more. That's the AL MVP. NL MVP is a different story. You have Shohei Ohtani. And coming up the side here, Kyle Schwarber, who the other night hit four against the Atlanta Braves. He's at 49 on the year, and he leads all baseball at 119 RBIs.
Unbelievable.
Uh, I just hope the writers don't penalize Schwarber because he's the DH.
You know, we've had this discussion now that since the DH has been on both sides of the league, people consider the DH as the lazy spot. It's not.
It's not.
It's not the lazy spot. It's yes. Are you taking the field, getting out of the defensive aspect out of it? Yes. But for players who are unable to go both ways, whether playing and hitting at the same time anymore, is the thing. So that's why the DH is there.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. I don't think there's really a third guy coming up the side.
No.
I think it's really those two. There are certain
Mhm.
guys who are going to get votes.
Couple in the orange and blue will get a vote.
Yeah, the first baseman's going to get some votes.
Yep.
If the right fielder goes on a tear, he's going to get some votes. And although he's on a tear right now. Um, then pitching wise, Cy Young in the American League, it's Tarek Skubal against Garrett Crochet.
Agreed.
National League is interesting. We thought for a while it was going to be Paul Skeens and Zach Wheeler. Unfortunately, Wheeler got hurt.
Right.
Christopher Sanchez has had a good year, but Freddie Peralta of the Brewers won his 16th game the other night. He's in the top five in ERA. And I don't believe he's that far down in strikeouts if I just take that look. He is 13th in the league in strikeouts.
Okay.
I mean, that's another guy coming up. So,
It's not too shabby.
hmm. Yeah, so you got awards. You got nothing has been decided as of September 1st. And if you're a baseball fan, that is what you want. You don't want
Right.
this month to be meaningless. It's very meaningful. And to quote Raheem and Eric B, you want to be paid in full.
Yes.
All right. We brought up Cal Raleigh before. We don't have to dive more into it,
Right.
but what a year. Uh,
Yes. Hats
Other
off.
big news of the week. Um, One of my favorite 80s movies, Ferris Bueller. Walker Bueller was released by the Red Sox. There had been some chatter they were going to try to move him to the bullpen. I don't know if he said anything, but they decided to release him. The Red Sox have also extended Aroldis Chapman for a year
which was smart.
with a club option for 2027. Chapman's had a great year.
Has had a spectacular rebound year from last year. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's been really good. But Walker Bueller struggled a lot this year. I think there's a couple of teams when I'm looking at potential playoff teams that could use Walker Bueller. What say you?
Well, let's consider what Walker Bueller is right now. He went through Tommy John
Mhm.
surgery, he recovered, he came back and was traded to Boston. And we see that he's had I mean, to say truly what it is, he's had a poo-poo-ish year, but he still has value. He just needs a
Yeah.
little more time to come back. So the question becomes what teams could use him right now? And obviously, Mike and I are both thinking the same thing, the New York Mets, as the Mets need pitching. I would bring him in as the bottom end of the rotation, even a long relief out of the bullpen if needed. Get him a couple spot starts, get him whatever he needs to get going, and then have another solid pitcher besides Minea and Senga. But you also now have McLean and Tong, who, by the way, we're not going to talk too much because that's going to be a podcast between Mike and I. But hats off to McLean and Tong. What a start to their MLB career.
I'll say this on McLean. I know it's been three starts. Is it bad that I feel like this dude's earned a spot to pitch in the wild card series if the Mets get there?
I think he does.
Yeah.
I think he absolutely deserves it.
But
And you look at it as the Mets really going to need the help. So,
uh, he deserves it. And Tong, I really think they're going to use Tong in a situation like the Rays used '08 David Price. I just got a
okay.
feeling that's how that would be his role. And imagine piggybacking that guy off of a Sean Manaea who throws 92, 93, and the sweeper. And all of a sudden, you get this kid coming in 96, 97 with ease, looking like Tim Lincecum out there. But back to Bueller. I think there's a couple of teams. You brought up Zach Wheeler before. I think Philly could be a spot for him.
Absolutely. With the loss of Zach Wheeler, absolutely.
Um, you know, if he was okay with pitching out of the bullpen, I'd say a return to LA, but I'm not sure if he wants to do that. Um, the Yankees actually make a ton of sense too, in my opinion, just for the fact of right now, if you're pitching the wild card series, the only guy I would have faith in is Max Fried. I don't
And
trust Carlos. Go ahead.
that's fair. No, no, sorry, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't trust Rodon, and I would presume it'd be Luis Heel in Game 3, not Cam Schlittler or Will Warren. So the Yankees
Right.
kind of make some sense. Um, there's a lot of teams that could use a Walker Bueller type that are close to the playoffs. Maybe even a team. Honestly, if you want to stick a dagger to the Dodgers, if you're the Padres, and again, if he's willing to take that long relief role, why not?
Why not? Exactly. Exactly.
So uh, Walker Bueller will wind up somewhere, and he will get big outs in October because that's what Walker Bueller does. All right, so next up, and we kind of started the show with this when we were talking about the A's, and I want to get into it a little bit more because the A's earlier this week swept the Tigers, and the A's aren't playing as poorly as they did a year ago.
No, not at all.
And, we're witnessing what the Marlins are doing and how well they're playing. And it kind of got me thinking of like a crystal ball idea of let's see what we're looking forward to next season. So I'm going to ask you to give me one team that
Oh,
won't make the playoffs,
okay. Just want to make sure I understand it.
but you think next year, if they make whatever moves they make in free agency, this is a team that may not be a playoff team next year, but they're right on the cusp of something.
To me, as you look at teams from this year and you want to do, like Mike said, I have to look at the Cincinnati Reds. They have had one hell of a season this year. They're gonna miss the playoffs, but more or less by the skin of their teeth. And it's not really, you can't blame just one person for it. You can't blame one person for it. It's not really a blame the way this team is played. They're getting better. They just need help in a few areas.
And the other thing about the Reds is they're starting to find out about some of these young pitchers. Hunter Green's a stud. Um, Abbott's been really good for them. Lodolo has had opportunities to be really good. And then they had that kid they brought up who was going to pitch in the uh, Motor Speedway game, whose name I'm just not remembering. So I apologize for that. But yeah, they're on the cusp. I'm going to go with the Orioles. And I'm
Okay.
begging the Orioles to do something this winter. I'm begging them to go out and sign a big time pitcher because that's what we wanted them to do this last winter. Get a stud. You're on the preface of something, and they stood pat with their hands in their pockets.
You
Really?
know,
Go ahead.
I kind of blame, no, no, I kind of blame the Baltimore organization for letting Corbin Burns go.
Yeah, I do too. And by the way, if you're gonna let Corbin Burns go, you better be the freaking team that goes in on Garrett Crochet. And they weren't the
Yeah.
team that went in on Garrett Crochet. You let a division rival be the team that goes in on Garrett Crochet.
Right.
They need to this nucleus, this core is very good. With Gunnar Henderson and Rutschman, the kid they just called up, Balsamo, who's been awesome. Colton Cowser. They have great young players. Now you have to support it with the pitching. Now it's when you need to support it. So, because you never know when you get back to the dance.
Right.
So I need the Orioles to do something this winter to bring them back into what should be a very competitive American League East again next year. All right. On to our series to discuss for the week. Everything that has playoff or some sort of playoff implications. Mark, it's a big week. It's a big road trip coming for the New York Metropolitans. It starts in Detroit on Labor Day.
And this is a series that scares me because the Detroit Tigers are such a fantastic ball club this season. Between the pitching from Terry Skubal to the hitting from Riley Green and sorry, forgot his name, and Spencer Torkelson.
Markelson's had a
Um,
great year.
this is going to be one of those series that are going to define the Mets going into the playoffs. Because it is very likely if the Mets were to go to the series, this could be the team they face if Detroit keeps playing the way they played.
Well, here's the good news for the Mets. Tarek Skubal pitches this afternoon.
Oh, thank you.
So the pitching matchups will be look like this. Monday will be Sean Manaea and Charlie Morton. Tuesday will be Nolan McLean and Casey Mize, who's had a nice year too.
Casey, that's going to be a fun pitching matchup.
Two young studs. Mize,
Mize has had
former
a
number
great
one pick,
year. Yeah.
and then
Mize has had a good season.
Wednesday will be Clay Holmes against Chris Paddock.
See, here's my issue. Mendoza and Stearns keep talking about Holmes, being shut down because he's reached, pitched him. What are we doing here? Are we going to pitch him and he's going to go like this tired into the playoffs? I mean, last week he pitched a great game. I'm not going to say he didn't, but he's at that threshold number.
I don't think he's a starter come playoff time.
I don't think he can be.
Yeah, I think he's going. I think he's going to the bullpen. Come if the Mets were to get there, I think he's out of the bullpen, and I think if you get out of the wild card round, I think the four you're rolling with are Manaea, Peterson, Senga, and I think it's McLean.
Right. Not to take away anything from Jonah Tong and his start the other night. It was a great start. God damn it, he couldn't
He's
get one
my
more
secret
strikeout for my
weapon out of the
parlay.
bullpen.
I think that would be a interesting move. I didn't even consider that. We did get notification. Well, it's not notification, more or less rumor that has come true that Brendan Sproat will now be brought up to pitch a game this season. So we're gonna get a look at. We've gotten a look at Tong and McLean, and we're gonna get more of both of them. But now we're gonna see Sproat, and I think that's to give Holmes rest.
And I think the other thing is this, and not to make this all Mets, but I kind of wonder if this was David Stearns' plan in the sense of this is why he didn't add a starter at the trade deadline.
It makes sense. I mean, the pegs fit.
Just want to see how these three young guys do. And, right now, and we know at some point they're going to hit a bump because every young pitcher hits a bump.
Of course.
But McLean has looked really good. Tong looked good the other night. Threw his curveball more than I thought he would, but
I was looking for more of the fastball myself, but yeah, he
eh,
did do a lot of other of his pitches.
yeah. So we'll see what happens there. But
Yeah,
I think the Mets with those three guys, and I think one of them because I think right now I would pitch McLean in the playoffs for sure. If you use Tong as a secret weapon, or argument's sake, use Tong as a piggyback guy off of Clay Holmes. Like you go from that to that would be something that would intrigue me. So the Mets go to Detroit. They don't get Tarek Skubal, um, which is huge, but the Tigers are still really good.
yeah.
Um, Also, we get the Blue Jays going to Cincinnati to play the Reds. Big week
For
for
the
the
blue,
big
sorry,
week for the Reds playing Birds. They got the Cardinals this weekend, Blue Jays this week.
and the Reds are starting to lose steam. They had that. I mean, they've had an impressive run. They
Mm-hmm.
were within grasp, I mean, of third spot behind the Mets at close to a game and a half, as close to a game and a half, I should say. Now they've fallen off, and now they're going up against, like Mike said, one of the bigger teams in the league, and that's the Toronto Blue Jays, who need to keep winning. This isn't going to be a shutout phase. The Cincinnati Reds are a good ball team. I think they're just missing some pitching.
Yeah, they'll have their big guy go tomorrow. Hunter Green goes tomorrow against Chris Bassett. Uh, this is a massive series both ways. Blue Jays looking to stay in first place. The Reds are clinging to life right now in the wild card. The thing about the talent that's going to be on the field at one time, the battle at shortstop is Ellie De La Cruz and Bo Bichette. You know, like those are two elite players. Vlad Jr., you know, George Springer, who's had a really good season. You know, so there's a lot of talent going both ways. So that's an important one. We got a heavyweight fight in Milwaukee. We got the Phillies and the Brewers this week.
It goes to your two number one teams right now. The problem is the number one team being the Phillies are there, but they have no rotation at the moment. They have no ace, in my opinion. Right now, you have to think it's going to be whether it's Rodriguez or Luzardo. I mean, that's who it is, and that can't be. They need another name, and obviously, Mike said it earlier. Do they make a run and go get Walker Bueller for this rotation?
And I think the most important thing, and we know the loss of Zach Wheeler is huge. They've got to figure out what's going on with Aaron Nola.
Nola's just, I mean, I can't say just because that makes it like it's okay. Nola's having a bad year. He can't get past the fifth inning without giving up 4 or 5 runs.
And here's the thing: he pitched. I think he's the guy who pitched in that 19-4 beatdown where Schwarber hit the 4 homers. He gave him 3 runs in the first inning. I get it. He settled down after that, but when you get the run support he did, if you don't settle down, you got a lot of issues. They really need to figure out what's going on with Aaron Nola because outside of that, he is their guy come playoff time because Sanchez hasn't been there, Luzardo hasn't been there. Aaron Nola's the guy they're going to have to ride. So we got the Phillies in Milwaukee. And then we got the Guardians and the Red Sox. The Guardians also clinging to life in the wild card, and the Red Sox are one of those teams in front of them. So,
The Red Sox, well, let's call it as it is. They get a shot to take first up, not first place, take the top spot of the wild card away from the New York Yankees. There's nothing more than the Red Sox love than these late season matchups with the Yankees because they play good. They're they play them well.
yeah.
A true Red Sox come out. That's what I was getting at. And they play the hardest against the Yankees than they do any other team in baseball.
And they've beaten the snot out of the Yankees this year.
And now, if you take 2 of 3, the Yankees are going to get moved down, and it's going to give teams like Texas and Kansas City a little bit more hope. I mean, at 2-5, 2.5 out, if Kansas City and Texas can just keep pace with winning, and either one of these 3 teams have an off, Kansas City and Texas, not to forget Cleveland, can still sneak in with a month out.
Right. And here comes Cleveland. They're going to play the Red Sox. The Yankees are in Houston. We know the feelings between those two teams. And then, as we look forward to next weekend, you know, the Yankees, they play Houston this week. Then they get the Blue Jays at home. We brought it up earlier. Those are massive series for the New York Yankees, who have struggled against really good teams. Also, next weekend, we got the Mets and the Reds. So the Mets could finally just put the hammer down and the nail in the Reds' coffin, depending on what happens this week.
Mhm.
And then the Astros and the Rangers. The Astros can put a nail in the Ranger coffin.
A couple losses to the Rangers, yes. My take on them sneaking in would fall back, but we've seen stranger things happen, and we've seen Texas go from unsurprising the World Series winners. So I don't count them out yet. If they can take one game, if not two, to stay alive and keep their playoff season, it could happen.
And they're going to have to do without Corey Seager who underwent an appendectomy, which
Yeah.
it's been a
Which is
tough
not
year
going to
for
keep them.
Seager,
It's
too.
not going to keep them out the rest of the season, but it's going to stop them for the next 2 weeks. If Texas is deemed out of it by
They'll
then I
shut
could
him down.
say that they'll shut down Seager for the season.
Yeah. I mean, this would be a fun series if there weren't so many injuries, but you have the Mariners in Atlanta next weekend to play the Braves. The pitching matchups could have been so much fun.
And that's a series that the Seattle Mariners should walk away with.
Hmm.
But I don't. I agree with Mike. It's going to come down to the rotation for that series because between Kirby and Castillo, I mean, they have so many complete pitchers and balanced. It's hard to root for one over the other.
It's we're coming down the stretch, everybody, and it should be an epic ride. Now, I do want to make a quick announcement. Next Sunday, there will be no batter up. First week of football. So we will have Sunday sideline report instead. We will do batters up sometime during the week. We'll talk about it probably right after this.
And we'll have a post on the Facebook page and whatnot. So tune into that to see what day Batter Up is being moved to.
Yes, we will let everybody know. But next Sunday, 10 a.m., same place will be Sunday sideline report as we get ready for the start of football season. All right. Mark, anything on the dugout of Millwood you want to bring up?
The dugout is going to take a couple of weeks off with the kids starting school. Just doing a little bit of selling right now, not much buying. So you're not going to hear too much from the dugout over the next few weeks. But once football kicks off, we will be having a new small podcast called Summer's Picks, and we will introduce that next Sunday.
Okay. So shout out our friend Joe Knapp at Hat Trick Breaks and Anthony Laparo at Top Notch, as well as Rudy Campo Sweep the League. Check them out as well as they record every day or they're live every day on their YouTube channel as well.
Remember, for the best co-signing job in the United States and the best grading company to work with, Top Notch Sports Club. Fast, quick turnarounds, fast filling breaks, fast shipping, and their new website makes everything more easier, especially when you want to pay for certain breaks and get your cash outs very quickly. So talk to Mr. Laparo. He'll give you all the information at Top Notch Sports Breaks.
All right. Check out our website, www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com. Great blogs, vlogs, planes, trains, and automobiles. Check out the podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on the socials, Twitter, S Insanity Real, Facebook, the Sports Insanity Network. As Mark said, we'll have a post on when we will be recording Batter Up next week. But until then, for Mark, I'm Mike. We'll talk to you all then next week. Everyone have a happy and safe Labor Day. And if you're starting school, best of luck.
Sorry.
Sorry. Those days are past for us.